It's been less than a week, and a lot has happened. Here we are back at Perfect Spiral for episode number 2. And boy, did we miss a lot. And are we going to have a lot to talk about on this episode of PSP? What we got coming up for you here in our first segment is a What Did We Miss? And oh my, did we miss a lot last night. Monday Night Mayhem and Tuesday morning shenanigans. We'll get everything here for you coming up in our first segment. Segment number 2, we're going to go over our initial offseason team analysis. We're going to cover 4 teams. We're going to cover the Bucs, the Raiders, the Jaguars, and the Seattle Seahawks, and why they are in a lot of trouble. And then in our third and final segment today, we're going to do our NFL free agency preview part number 2. We're going to give you an updated list of our free agent list after all the moves that were made that we're going to discuss and where we think those players are going to end up. I know, it's a lot of information, but it's all going to be coming your way here on episode 2 of Perfect Spiral.
You play to win the game.
Touchdown! Can't wait.
All right, folks, here we are. Joe Miglio coming at you. I got my boy John McCarthy over here. How we doing, John?
Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. That is a great word to describe what in the fuck was going on last night and this morning. It was radio silence for like 4 days in a row in the NFL world.
And then it just blew up.
And then
just out of nowhere.
Like craziness happened over the course of last night between the hours of like 7 and 9 and this morning, early this morning, really all day. There has been a ton going on. But I need to ask you, your past week after we did the initial pod, are you jazzed? Are you ready? I know you were like pumped last week. How do you feel right now?
Oh, Joe, come on. I blew up your phone with about, I don't know, maybe 40 text messages about everything that was happening.
It was craziness.
I'm like, I'm sorry I'm texting you so much, but I have to. There's just so much going on.
It was absolutely crazy. Before we get into anything, I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody who listened to the first podcast and our first trailer. We got over 100 downloads on our first episode and trailer combined. I just want to thank everybody. You guys are absolutely great. We're getting some awesome engagement on our Twitter and our TikTok.
Oh, TikTok's been fun. I think I got you to like it a little bit.
I don't like it. Still don't like it, but I'm doing it for the sake of the pod. Please make sure that you are subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, giving us those 5-star reviews, following us on Spotify. We are now live on Google Podcasts as well as on Buzzsprout and any other type of platform that you get your podcast from. So again, make sure you subscribe, listen, download, rate Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We really love everything that you guys have done for us so far and helping us get this off the ground. That being said, I mean,
let's just get into it.
Monday Night Mayhem. Diana Rossini posted this on Twitter, and it was so awesome.
It was so accurate.
I mean, can we just quickly go over who's off the board before this is even going on?
We have to go over it.
So, Dak Prescott, gone. Allen Robinson, tagged. Brandon Scherf, tagged. Justin Simmons, tagged. Chris Godwin, tagged. Taylor Moton, tagged. Leonard Williams, tagged. Marcus May, tagged, but not happy. Levante David, signed. Marcus Williams, tagged, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Who else? What do we got? JJ Watt. I think that's it. I think those are the big guys that were tagged.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
And then guys who weren't tagged: Hunter Henry, Aaron Jones,
Kenny Galladay. Huge.
So there are Joe Tooney, Bud Dupree.
That was a big one, Joe Tooney, right?
So Yannick Ngakoue and Matt Judon both weren't tagged by Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Aaron Jones not tagged by the Packers.
Right. So a lot of stuff happened, but we got to start with the big news out of the Big D. Our boy, not really our boy, but
not our
Dak
boy.
Prescott with really technically, I'm going to get into this in a second, a 6-year, $164 million deal, $126 million guaranteed, 66 at signing, $75 million in the first year, and the year 5 and year 6 are avoidable years. I'll explain what that is in a second. But I need your initial reaction to this Dak Prescott mega contract.
I think that all right, I'm going to give two perspectives of this. Look, as far as Dak goes, I'm really happy he got his money. He deserves it. Dak is a good player.
Debatable.
He played under, like, he wasn't making anything. I mean, you got to remember. Like,
He was on his rookie contract.
He was on his rookie contract.
Right.
His rookie contract was, what, a 4th-round pick? It was, it wasn't ideal. Last year, they should have got the deal done.
But they tagged him.
He
made a good amount of money last year.
They tagged him, but I could see why he wants a long-term, security.
Everybody wants the security,
And then
especially
the
after he
ankle
got
injury.
hurt. Right.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, he got his money. Good for you, Dak. Listen, you're a good player. Don't get me wrong. But, and there's a big but for me, I think the Dallas Cowboys window closes with this deal. I think ultimately when you're a team that's playing with a quarterback on a rookie deal, that's your window. And let's be honest, Dallas surrounded him with a lot of talent. Their window was the last 4 years.
The offense was never the problem, though, John.
No, I get that. But now you've locked up your quarterback. Your whole offense is like paid, right? You get paid your 3 main guys. You paid Zeke. You paid Amari Cooper, which, I mean, we could.
You can't trade. You can't trade for a 1st-round pick wide receiver and then not sign him to a deal.
Yeah.
Then that becomes a disaster.
No, I get it. Yeah. So they had to sign him, but again, we can debate if that was a good deal or not.
Right.
And Dak Prescott. Where are you going with the rest of the team?
Well, I mean, I think they're close. Well, now this deal set them back, but they were in the top 15 in the league and with cap space. Then in the draft last year, you don't address a need, which they're going to this year, though.
Yeah, you have to this year. You can't draft another offensive player. You draft CeeDee Lamb, which, don't get me wrong, I like CeeDee Lamb. But at the time, I was a little confused by the pick, considering their needs on defense.
Right, absolutely. But before Dak got hurt, they were on pace to be a historic offense.
Oh yeah, he would have thrown like 7,000 yards.
It was literally on pace to be a historic offense. And I'm just gonna cut in really quick.
Go ahead.
Because I don't think that. Again, he deserves to get whatever money he can.
Yeah.
That being said, he's not a $40 million a year quarterback. You cannot tell me he's a $40 million a year
listen,
quarterback.
I don't think he is either.
And I think it's crazy because that was going to be the only way Dallas was going to keep him. Mm-hmm. And if he didn't get it from Dallas, he was going to get it from another team. But it doesn't excuse the fact that he definitely didn't deserve that type of money.
His cap hit the next 3 seasons is higher than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Let that sink in for a second.
Well, Mahomes is on a 10-year deal.
Yeah, and it's spread out a little better, obviously. But with Dak,
well, the reason... Okay, no, never mind. It's just like his cap hit is bigger in the beginning, yes. Mm-hmm. But it's really, quote unquote, like team friendly because of these voidable years.
Yeah, it's all team friendly.
But like, I just don't see how signing him to that big of a deal really enhances their ability to be a team who's going to challenge to go to a Super Bowl in the NFC.
Yeah, it's hard.
I don't know. Like, if Washington gets a competent quarterback at the position, they are the clear favorites to win that division.
100%, because they're set on the defensive end. Their offense is pretty good. I mean,
the best coach in the division.
And you're the best coach in the division. And it, like you said, it's kind of a plug a quarterback in and you're rolling. I could see them going to the NFC Championship game. That team is that good.
Okay. I mean, I'd love to smoke what you're smoking because I don't know. I don't know if they're NFC Championship caliber yet, but they're definitely on the right track.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good deal for him.
For him personally, yeah.
And just so we're aware, he was on the franchise. He actually got tagged recently.
Yeah.
Like, he got tagged for this year, the second tag. And the reason that happened was because his agent made the Cowboys tag him before he signed the deal so he can't get tagged again. So if anybody's seeing out there that Dak Prescott got tagged, they're like, oh my, wait.
It was more of a formality.
Wait, why? I don't understand. Why Dak didn't get tagged? Why is Dak getting tagged? He's getting tagged because that's the way he wanted it to happen. He got tagged before he signed the official contract, so then he cannot get tagged again.
Yeah.
So in 2025, when his contract expires, they can't tag him again.
He has to hit the open market.
He has to hit the open market.
Okay.
That's the reason why they did that. And I do have to say, if anybody hears a noise in the background, there is a canine outside in the yard who is having a grand old time. So if you hear that, it's live podcasting. There's really nothing we could do about that at the moment. Babies crying, canines barking. This just
basketball's dribbling.
Yeah, it's just nothing you could control. Anyway, so Dak gets his. Isaiah Wilson gets traded from Tennessee to Miami. The first round pick who the Titans drafted last year, who played 4, single digit 4 snaps last year for the Titans, gets dealt to Miami and swaps sevenths. Talk about a low risk move. For Miami.
Incredible deal
and
for Miami.
Tennessee just wanted to get rid of Wilson. He just wasn't a fit there for some reason.
I think Miami did the right thing making that deal because, you're swapping sevens. What is it? You're giving up absolutely nothing for a guy who...
Hey, Tom Brady has a lot to say about that.
Isaiah Wilson last year was what? I think he was a 4th-ranked tackle.
4th-ranked tackle, he went 20th overall.
Yeah, he went 20th. So, listen, if you're a first-round pick, I'm of the mindset of... Especially with a guy that we haven't really seen much of him, and coming out, they knew he was raw, his technique needed work. There was stuff that you saw on the tape with him where it was like, okay, he's a good run blocker, but he's not as good in pass coverage. Pass blocking.
Yeah.
They could work with him on that.
Does he start day one, you think?
I think he does.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think he does only because it's like, let's see what we have in him.
All right.
I do think that's not going to stop them from trying to get another tackle or trying to draft the tackle late in the draft. They have, 6 picks in the first 3 rounds? How many was it? It was quite a bit. I think that it was a good trade for them. 7th round. You're getting a first-round guy who played 4 snaps who's still really young for a swap of 7s. I do that deal all day.
Absolutely. I agree. I think it's a win-win for both teams. And just so we're aware, Brian Flores coached at the same high school that Isaiah Wilson went to in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So there's some more. And I believe there's a Georgia coach in Miami as well.
Yeah, there might be.
There's
I'm not too
something
sure.
there.
But there's definitely a connection there. And then literally minutes after the Dak Prescott news hit, it was also announced from Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport that Marcus May was tagged by the Jets.
We discussed this last week.
We thought it was going to happen. It ended up happening. It's a $10.5 million franchise tag hit for a player who was probably going to get $18.5 to $20 million a year. Now, what has also been reported by Mike Garafolo is that there is a chance, and a greater than 50% chance, that May does not report to training camp because he's that unhappy that he has not received a long-term deal yet. Mm-hmm. And they are that far apart on a long-term deal. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if you get another Yannick Ngakoue situation coming out of the Jets camp this offseason that you got with Ngakoue and the Jaguars. May could just choose to not sign that franchise tag.
100%.
And report week 1. He will not get fined. I think it's very important to note this. He won't get fined if he doesn't sign the franchise tag into training camp. As long as he signs that franchise tag before the first game of the year and reports and plays, he's good.
Yeah.
So it's been reported he's not happy. I said last week that I don't think he was going to be happy.
And you said that would really piss him off. If you really want to piss off Marcus May and his agent, you franchise tag him. And that's what they did.
The Jets followed through on everything I thought they were going to do.
And they're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to work out a long-term deal, blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, you know what? You had time to work out a long-term deal with this guy. Would you have 2 years to do it?
I just don't understand why they did it. But they did it. And that was really the big news for Monday night. There were some other small
Trent Brown
moves.
went back to the Patriots.
Trent Brown went back to New England when he's very happy to be back there.
After he made $35 million in Oakland.
But then, so the franchise tag deadline is going to be today, I believe, at some point. I don't know if they gave the cap number hit. One important thing to know is that if they don't settle on a cap number today, the franchise tag deadline actually is going to get pushed back.
Yeah.
We don't know the exact date, but it can get pushed back. But guys that were tagged, let's go one by one and just kind of explain. So Allen Robinson, tagged by the Bears.
Okay.
Big, for me, really interesting that he could be one of the few guys that gets tagged and traded.
Yeah.
After this.
Which we spoke, that's something also that you brought up on the
right.
pod.
I think there was a part of me that thought he wasn't going to get tagged. He's also not happy that he got tagged. He's another one of those happies. He did make a like on somebody's Twitter where saying franchise tag takes away from players being able to go into free agency, and he liked it. So I don't think he's very happy that he got tagged.
Yeah.
About that. We also got...
Oh, no. Joe's sad.
Brandon Scherf got tagged by
Second year tag
by the Washington football team.
Joe is miserable right now. This ruined Joe's night.
Literally pouting because I wanted Brandon Scherf
literally pouting
so bad on my football team, but he deserves it. He is the best offensive guard in football outside of Wyatt Teller.
What's his tag number? It's like 18 million, right?
I don't know the exact number.
I believe it's 18.
But it's definitely whatever normal tag number is. I believe it's like a 20% increase on what it was normally. Then we got news Justin Simmons was going to get tagged.
No surprise.
No surprise there. Taylor Moton got tagged. No surprise there for us. And then this morning, we got a couple of more. We got Leonard Williams got tagged by the Giants. Slightly surprised, but not really surprised. That tells me that they're totally okay with keeping Williams, and they very well might lose Dalvin Tomlinson in free agency.
Yeah.
Then who else got tagged? Marcus Williams. The paperwork was filed by the New Orleans Saints to tag Marcus Williams. So Mickey Loomis, the Saints GM, dead last in the league in cap space, but somehow they are tagging Marcus Williams. Goes to show you what type of moves they're going to face. This also tells me Trey Hendrickson, gone.
Yeah, he's hitting the open market.
Gone. Goodbye. See you later. Not coming back to New Orleans. And I think that's a big loss for them, too. Because Cam Jordan now would demand a double team on the other side where he was not getting double teamed before because Trey Hendrickson was on the other side of that team.
And he already had a little bit of a rough year last year, Cam Jordan. So
he's getting older.
Yeah.
So, and then Chris Godwin got tagged, which is important to note because
that's a big one.
That's a big one. We're going to talk about the Bucs in a little bit, but just to give you a little taste, they chose to re-sign Godwin, tag Godwin over Barrett.
Yeah.
So, and Barrett, from our list, as it stands right now, is the number one free agent on the market. Mm-hmm. He will demand the most money in the open market. I don't know if Tampa's going to be able to keep him. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, we're going to get to the Bucs, like you said. There's a lot going on with them.
And so for the tags, that's really it. I believe 9 guys in total were tagged. Mm-hmm. Cam Robinson was also tagged by the Jaguars. We're going to talk about that later because I don't fucking get that. And then guys that weren't tagged. I mean, Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, huge. It's a big deal.
Think about this for a second.
Hunter Henry.
Jared Goff goes from Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Josh Reynolds, Todd Gurley, Cam Akers, to Tyrell Williams, Quintus Cephas. That's his receiving core.
Danny Amendola.
Nope, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone too.
Marvin Jones gone. He's got nobody left.
DeAndre
Think
Swift.
about that fucking trash system he just went to. My God, the Lions are going to be bad next year.
Yeah, they really decided to set him up for success, huh?
Oh, my God.
I mean, and not to mention, Brutal. It's like the coach is coming out saying they're going to bite kneecaps off. It's like, you guys aren't even going to get near someone's kneecaps to bite them off because that team's going to be so bad.
So, Kenny Golladay, interesting. I know you are on the big Kenny Golladay Raven hype train.
Oh, 100%. I put it out on the Twitter that I think that the Ravens should make a call as soon as the clock strikes midnight when they get tamper, the legal tampering period, you make a phone call to Kenny Golladay. And why do I think that?
Tell us, John, why do you think that?
So the issue with the Ravens is that they don't have a number one receiver. And they don't have a guy that can go up and contest a ball.
Well, yeah, I think that's one of their problems.
It's like one of their main problems.
With an S.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the only problem.
No, it's not the only problem, but it's a huge problem. I mean, you have guys like, listen, Marquise Brown is a solid receiver. He's
Hollywood.
Okay. He's okay, but the problem is that he's a speedster. He's only 5'9". He's small. Who do they have that can go up and get a ball?
He's
Miles
like a fucking
Boykin?
termite.
Yeah, it's literally, you're right. He's a fucking... They have Miles Boykin.
Devin Duvernay.
Oh, come on. And then they signed Des Bryant. Des Bryant's
he's gone now too.
Yeah, he's Des Bryant. We'll talk about over the hill. I mean, come on.
Over the hill.
Des Bryant was like... He was like rolling down the hill. Like, it was bad.
Avalanche.
Like, literally, yeah. Like, it's scary. Like... But
some guys just lose it.
I mean, come on. Achilles injury, ACL injury, this injury, that injury, and then you think you're just going to plug him in. Can't jump. Blake Griffin hasn't jumped in 2 years. But they what's it called? I think that they need to make a call for Kenny Golladay because you need to see, and Eric DeCosta came out and said that the long-term deal on Lamar is going to take a little bit of time. I think you need to see what he can do with a number one receiver. Like, that's a big deal. Like, look. Let me just say this, Joe. Look at what happened with Josh Allen and the leap he made when he got Stephon Diggs, when he got a number one.
Yes.
They need that badly.
Agree. I will say this, though. Josh Allen is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson. And I don't really think it's close.
No, I agree. I don't think it's close either. I think Lamar has clear problems. I think Lamar has clear accuracy. I mean, now we're just getting into our problems with Lamar Jackson. And listen, don't get me wrong. He isn't like athlete. He's above an athlete. This guy is unbelievable. He's a game breaker. But I don't think he's been fully set up to succeed with the offense that they've given him. And granted, his offensive line is going in through losing Orlando Brown.
They haven't lost him yet.
But the idea that they're going to lose him,
right?
Huge. Ronnie Stanley was coming back from an injury.
Right, I understand.
I mean, you lost Mark Ingram. Another
center
over the
problem
hill.
as well.
Center problem. I mean, there's a lot to address on that offense that him just running around trying to create isn't going to fix. Listen, just get him a number one receiver. Take it from there. Let's see what you can do.
There's going to be a lot of suitors for Kenny Golladay.
Oh,
a lot.
Who else? The Giants.
The Giants, the Jets, the Jaguars, the 49ers.
Everybody.
I mean, teams are going to be afraid of that hip injury. So that will definitely cause teams to stay away from that. But I do think he is, as it counts right now, our third highest free agent left on the free agent list behind Barrett and Trent Williams. So it's going to be really interesting to see where Mr. Golladay ends up. A couple of other guys who were not tagged. We already mentioned Trey Hendrickson. Aaron Jones was not tagged by the Green Bay Packers.
Another big one.
Another big one. I think he's gone. I think they're going to re-sign Jamal Williams to a small-term deal. They're going to roll with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon.
I like Jamal Williams a lot.
But I think Jones is gone. Also, Hunter Henry was not tagged.
That's a huge one.
So, interesting. I think a lot what you can see from a lot of these teams is the guys that they don't tag, they're going to try to bring them back. I think Hunter Henry is going to be one of those guys who they're going to try to bring back. But Hunter Henry is going to be one of those guys that gets overpaid to leave. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be one of those guys that is nowhere near as good as the contract that he's going to get.
No, of course not. It's going to be you're going to see a lot of teams.
He might get like a $15 million a year contract.
Yeah, and that's going to be absurd because there's going to be teams that, as it's been reported, there's teams that are in on Zach Ertz right now. People are trying to get Zach Ertz from Philly. There's been teams calling Philly about him. I could see a team that misses out on Zach Ertz panic signing Hunter Henry or panic signing Jonnu Smith, something like that.
Hey, Jonnu Smith is good.
Jonnu Smith is good.
Come on now.
I feel like I'd rather have Hunter Henry over Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Hunter Henry's younger than Jonnu Smith, of course.
Yeah,
but don't blaspheme Jonnu Smith.
That's one of Joe's top free agent targets.
I love Jonnu Smith. And then lastly, I think one guy we need to cover is Joe Tooney not being tagged by the Patriots.
Shocking.
Which I think now, talk about a guy who's going to get a lot of money on the free agent market. Joe Tooney, from where I'm looking at the Perfect Spiral free agent list, which you could get on our Facebook page.
Yes.
Nice little advertising there. Ooh. Is our number one offensive guard on the board right now. Joe Tooney is going to make a lot of money. He's 28 years old, and he is a Patriot. That goes for something.
Yes.
So he's going to make a lot of money. He has a very, very, very good PFF grade. I know a lot of people don't like using PFF grades as like a thing because a lot of people don't like them because they don't like Mike Florio. But the reality of the situation is PFF is a good system. And
they do good
it analyzes things really well. Tooney's been very good. He's going to get a lot of money in the open market. One takeaway from this before we get into our next segment. I think the franchise tag has done so much damage to free agency and it's really rubbed the players the wrong way. I feel like there was a hot air balloon that was going to explode from the seams,
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's like you just took the pin out of it and it's like slowly coming back down to the ground. 6 of the top 10 free agents we had were tagged. So, from a pure entertainment standpoint, the NFL is an entertainment business. Mm-hmm. From the pure entertainment standpoint, that sucks. And these guys don't want to be tagged. They don't want to be tagged. Marcus May did not want to be tagged. Allen Robinson did not want to be tagged.
Yeah.
This is going to be something that's going to be discussed in the next CBA for the NFL. And I guarantee you, one of those things is going to be that the players want to get rid of the franchise tag. I mean, talk about a fucking, thorn in the side of these contracts. These guys signed for a certain amount of deal, and then they got to get tagged afterwards. A guy like Aaron Donald, I don't know if you remember Aaron Donald when he sat out for the Rams and he got tagged and he signed a new contract. By the time these guys hit their second team, a lot of these guys, the best part of their football days are behind them. Mm-hmm. So they're not getting the payday that they feel they deserve. I just don't know if the franchise tag is in the best interest of the league going forward. I don't like it. I think that it's a cop-out. I think that it's a way for a team to hold on to a player. And I totally understand and get the argument that if you draft a guy, you should be able to hold on to that guy as long as possible. Those days are over.
But these players also earn the right to become free agents.
Right, of course.
And I can see what you mean where it's like a guy like Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson very clearly has stated, and he did so in the middle of the season, he did not want to be with Chicago. And then they turn around
to be with the quarterback that Chicago had.
Yes, but still, there's already frustration there. So you tag him, and you still don't have an answer at quarterback. And Allen Robinson, I mean, listen, how old's Allen Robinson? He's got to be like in his late 20s at this point.
I'm so glad John just said that. I was going to bring this up before. But do you want to know how old Allen Robinson is? This is going to blow your mind. Okay?
I'm actually curious because I'm going to guess he's 28.
You're going to guess he's 28. Jeeves, can you tell us how old Allen Robinson is?
He just said H. Jeeves. Jesus Christ.
Allen Robinson. Oh. I thought he was younger. That sucks. He's 27.
Oh, okay.
I saw a report he was 23.
What the fuck? Who said that?
I don't know. But clearly they were wrong.
All right, so he's 27. Listen, for a wide receiver,
that's some bullshit.
27. I mean, you're going on your second contract. I mean, I could see why he's frustrated.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I mean, that's bullshit.
And by the time this season's over, he's 28.
The best quarterback he's ever had is Blake Bortles.
that one season. I mean,
that one season was beautiful. Don't you dare blaspheme that season.
I mean, listen.
Miles Jack was not down, sir.
Oh, my God. Joe just got so tilted in his chair.
Asshole. Bringing up this fucking bad memories for me.
Oh, God.
Ridiculous. Can we go on to the next segment now?
Have to make more bad memories than Cam Robinson.
Oh, God. They're talking to Cam Robinson.
Oh, boy.
All right. That is our Monday Night Mayhem. That is our Tuesday morning shenanigan update and report in a What Did We Miss? When we come back, we will be speaking about our first offseason team analysis. We're going to focus on 4 teams: the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Las Vegas Raiders, and my Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll be right back after this. All right, folks, we're back for part 2 of our 3-part podcast numero 2, Perfect Spiral. John, I got to ask you really quick. I got to throw it in there. Vikings signed Stephen Weatherly to a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. How do you feel about that?
Interesting.
How do you feel about them possibly losing Danielle Hunter?
Stop it. Can we just go to the team analysis now?
I know.
Please don't. Come on, man. He's a stud. We can't. There's no way.
They might.
I'm about to make bad memories. If they get rid of Danielle Hunter. We're already losing Anthony Harris. It's enough.
Anthony Harris might come to my team.
And Riley Reif is going to be gone. And Reif. We can't get any offensive linemen because we're cap strapped and we don't know what to do about it.
Rashawn Slater had a wonderful pro day today.
I heard.
He ran a 4.88 and bench pressed 33 times.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Top 10 pick incoming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Rashawn Slater.
The Vikings were at his pro day. I mean, he's not going to get to us.
What are you guys, 14?
We are 14, I
12?
believe. We're somewhere. We're in the late.
You're in that
teens.
range?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Possible move-up candidate for Rashawn Slater?
I mean, I want him.
I mean, who doesn't want him?
No,
He might
you
go
know
above Penei Sewell.
I don't know about that.
He might. He might. You know why? Because he can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
You're really excited about offensive
Off-season team-by-team analysis. So there are a couple of teams who we're intrigued by. We're a couple of teams who are really befuddled by, word of the day, befuddled. We're really annoyed by and really don't know what they're doing. So we're going to go from our most intriguing team currently, and then we're going to work our way down to the team that we're most pissed off at right now.
Oh, yeah.
So our most intriguing team, I think we're going to start out was Tampa Bay Bucs.
Yeah.
Right? So they franchised tag Chris Godwin, right? Just won the Super Bowl, this whole thing.
He
great.
said he would take the tag, so
Said he'd take the
expected,
tag.
yeah.
No surprise there, right? Now, they also re-signed Levante David today to a 2-year, $25 million deal. Okay? Very team-friendly. And then we learned afterwards that the actual contract is a 5-year deal with the last 3 years that are voidable years. Now, you've heard me say this term 3 times on this podcast and yet to explain what voidable years are. Well, everybody take out your notebooks and turn to page 13 because I'm going to explain this right now. So,
Professor Joe
is in the building. So, what is avoidable year? What avoidable year is it allows basically the signing bonus to be spread into additional years. So salary cap purposes are basically not into 1 year, right? So let's say for argument's sake, right? I'm trying to get a number. Let's say 18 million for Dak Prescott, just argument's sake, right? Remainder of his salary is $18 million. All right. If they do these voidable year, the signing bonus is then divided up over the life of the contract, right? If they do these voidable years, then they basically spread it out 6 years against the 3 years as opposed to being on 1 year as a signing bonus.
Okay.
Right? So if he's making $18 million signing bonus, he gets $18 million up front. If they do these voidable years, then he's making $6 million each year. So basically what it is it's a cap measure. So it's a more of a team-friendly contract on a year-to-year basis. Now, the thing with the voidable year is this, right? And I'm reading this directly from one of these websites. So I'm not knowing it's from the top of my head. So it says, so basically, essentially, $12 million would be saved on the salary cap for 2021 if you're using $18 million as a number, right? The $12 million would count eventually over the course of the next 2 seasons, right? Makes sense. If the player only then played in 2021, the $12 million would then count as a dead cap hit for the next season.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
So the reason this is something you're going to see a lot of going into this year, these voidable years to essentially spread out these signing bonuses and this guaranteed money. You're going to see it spread out over the life of these contracts. The reason that they're doing it with Levante David is because essentially nothing about it. With Levante David's case, it's a 2-year deal for $25 million, right? But I don't know what the exact number is. I think the number is $3.5 million for the first year. And you're saying, like, how the hell does that make sense? Well, it makes sense because of the voidable years. Normally, if there was a 2-year contract for $25 million, it'd be 12.5 and 12.5. And it would be, but no. Now they're spreading it out where it's $3.5 million in the first year and whatever number they decided to do in the second year. And then after that, the voidable years comes in, and then he makes the rest of that money.
Okay.
Over the span of those other 3 years.
It makes sense.
Right. So like it's almost like after he leaves Tampa, he'll still be making money from Tampa.
Okay. I see what it is. All right.
So they did this with Levante David. They did it with Dak Prescott. Prescott has 2 voidable years on his contract.
Is this essentially like a baseball deal on a smaller scale?
Yes. That's the best way to. Yes, that's actually a very good comparison.
Okay. Because like there's a lot of players that get paid once they're. I mean.
Yeah, Max Scherzer Max Scherzer has that.
Okay.
But Yes, this is essentially what is happening, and they're doing it because of COVID and because a lot of teams don't have the money that they had last year.
And it's a lot of uncertainty going into the season.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot of. I think you're going to see a lot of that. But so they signed Levante David essentially to a 2-year, $25.5 million deal. But for this year, they're only getting $3.5 million against the cap. Now you might ask, why are they doing this? Main reason they're doing this is for Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
They are going to try to sign Shaq Barrett to a long-term deal.
They said they're going to go to war to get him back.
Right.
They're going to do whatever they possibly can to get him.
So then, John, this is where I want you to jump in here. What number do you think is it going to take for the Bucs to retain Shaq Barrett? What years?
This is an interesting one.
Year and number.
I think. See, this is tough because the DN market is weird, man. It is weird. I mean, like you got like guys that are really like last year with Clowney. It was just absurd the money that he wanted. I think if Shaq Barrett wanted to just get the deal done, I think it's something like 17.5.
How many you think 4-year deal?
I'd say 4-year deal, $17.5 million. I think gets it done.
So so what you're coming at is 4 for 70.
Yes.
I think that's a little light, personally.
Yeah?
I do. Think these are the top defensive linemen on the market, defensive ends on the market right now. Shaq.
Well,
Barrett.
they also you got to remember too. They're working on an extension with Brady, which we'll get to, and that's trying to free up some more cap space.
Of
so
course,
they're really trying to do this. You know,
here are the numbers. Shaq Barrett, the names: Shaq Barrett, Trey Hendrickson, Carlos Dunlap. I'm trying to see what else is here. Yannick Ngakoue,
Matt Judon,
Carl Lawson, underrated. Those are literally like the top 5. So Barrett's a lot better than a lot of those guys.
Oh, for sure.
So
100%.
So he's going to be able to demand a lot of money in this open market, I think. I think it's going to take more than 4 for 70. I think he might want a 5th year, which I think is a mistake, but the team's going to give it to him. He's probably going to want a player option after year 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But if the Bucs think that he's going to help them, they're going to re-sign him. You're saying 4 for 70.
I would do 4 for 70.
You wouldn't go above that.
No, I'm going 4 for 70.
Okay.
I'm staying. If I'm in the I'm at the table with him, I'm saying, listen, we just won a Super Bowl. We're trying to repeat.
Right.
We got to get the rest of this team back together. You're gonna get your money. $17.5 million per. That's a lot of money.
So then let me ask you. Let me put my GM hat on for a second. I'm the Bucs. You're Shaq Barrett. You come into my office and you say, "Hey, Jason Light, I want 4 for 70." Jason Light says, "Fuck off. You're not getting 4 for 70. We have other guys we want to re-sign. We want to re-sign Leonard Fournette. We want to re-sign Antonio Brown. We want to re-sign Ndamukong Suh. We want to keep the band together. We want you to take a little bit less money so we could win more Super Bowl rings." Says, "Nah, I'm good." Okay. Who steps in and gives him that money? What team or teams step in and say, "Hey, Shaq Barrett, we're going to give you 4 for 70 or we're going to give you 5 for 90.
So the only team I could really see overpaying him right now is the Jets. I think that the Jets are going to come to the table with a very strong offer.
It'd be a smart move for them to sign a guy like Shaq Barrett.
Oh yeah, it's not an issue. I think that him with the Jets, I think that's a good signing for them. I think that they're going to come to the table aggressive.
And let's be clear really quick. Let's be clear really for a second. When you say overpay, when I say overpay, it's not when we're not using overpay, I think in a bad sense.
No.
We're saying overpay because when these guys are free agents, you have to overpay for them. If you don't overpay for these guys, you're probably not going to get them.
Yeah.
Because somebody's going to do it. Now, these teams will regret it on the back end when they have to pay for that dead cap hit eventually when they release that player in year 4 of year 6 of that deal. But to get that guy to come, you're going to have to overpay. Sorry, I just want to throw that out there. Continue.
Yeah, I think the Jets are going to be that team. I think the Jets are going to be that team for a lot of these guys because they have a lot of money to spend. They know what they need. I mean, their defense needs some help. I mean, obviously.
Right.
And I think they could come to the table with an absurd deal for Shaq Barrett. But I think teams are going to wait until they know for sure that he's walking. I don't think that I think he's going to give the Bucs every chance he can to re-sign him.
Nobody wants to be the team that's used as leverage.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the fucking dummy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they listen. They said they're
happen,
going to go
too.
to war. They're going to go to war together.
There's going to be a team that has a lot of cap space. Could be my team. Could be the Jets. Could be the Pats. Could be the Colts. Could be anybody. Could be any one of these teams. And Shaq Barrett's agent is going to say, "Hey guys, I know you really want to stay, and Shaq really wants to stay too. But the Colts are giving us 5 for 80. If you're not going to beat that, we're going to walk." And he's going to. It's literally what it's basically what Trevor Bauer did to the Mets.
Yeah. And push comes to shove. I mean,
he'll leave.
He'll leave if they offer him 4 for 80. He's gone.
He already got the ring. What does he have left to prove?
I know, but it's just like
he's going to want the money now.
Does a hometown discount or the lore of
that
repeating?
is bullshit. Hometown discounts are bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
The term hometown discount, I mean, no. I have a job. Would I take a hometown discount to stay at my job if another competitor offered me more money? Why? Because that job hired me or that job got me into the business?
With football, I feel like it's like, you know what you have there. Like a lot of these guys, listen, let's go back to Watt, right? Let's go back to Watt for a second.
Sure.
Watt chose the money over a ring. Let's be frank. He could have went to a team where he had a better chance of winning a ring, gotten paid a little less, but he chose the money. Shaq Barrett's going to be another one. Do you want to come back and have a chance at another ring?
But Watt never won. That's the difference.
I know.
Watt never won.
But
Barrett won.
Barrett did win.
Yeah. So what is he? Some guys are very content with winning one Super Bowl and then just getting paid.
I think he likes it in Tampa. I really do think he likes it in Tampa.
He might like it in Tampa, but I don't know if he's going to stay if he gets underpaid.
So let's say they lose Shaq. Let's say they lose him.
Right.
That's a big loss for them.
Of course it is a big loss.
How do you even replace somebody like that?
You don't. You don't. They're going to sign one of the guys probably that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Whether it's Judon or Ngakoue or Dunlap or Carl Lawson. And those guys are all very good players. They're good options.
But they're not going to give you the Shaq Barrett
But they're not
production.
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the situation. Or they draft a defensive another edge rusher in the draft. That's just a very strong possibility.
I know. I think that they're going to just try everything they can. And listen, ultimately, I mean, what do you think he's going to do ultimately, honestly? And if you had to say right now, what do you think he's going to do?
I think it depends on what the Bucs offer him. The Bucs are going to come to the table and the Bucs are going to say, we're going to give you this for this. And he's going to say, okay, I'm going to go test the market. He's going to come back and say, this is what these teams are offering me. And it's going to be higher than what the Bucs could afford him.
Oh, 100%.
So
exactly.
I think at the end of the day, he is going to be in it for the money. If I think the value of winning a Super Bowl ring is so important to these guys at the front end of their careers. Once they get that ring, it's gravy for a lot of these guys. They want to win once. They want to experience winning the Super Bowl. After that, a lot of these guys just want to get paid.
Yeah.
This is the only opportunity in Shaq Barrett's career, okay, where he's going to be able to break the bank. If he signs a 5-year deal, I'm checking his age because I do not know how old Shaq Barrett is. God forgive me, I do not know how old he is. But I'm checking his age now.
He's got to be, I think he's early 30s,
He's
actually.
28.
Oh, late 20s.
So if he signs a 4-year deal, he's going to be 32. He's not making $100 million at 32 years old.
No, he's not. He's not.
This is his only opportunity he's going to have to make that deal, to make that money. So he's going to take it. As would I.
Yeah, of course.
As would you.
Of course.
If you already won a fucking Super Bowl, would you say, I'm going to take a hometown discount to stay for more? No, you're going to take the fucking money that one of these teams gives you. So, you ask me, gun to my head, I think he's gone.
Yeah. I think the fact that they signed Levante David, they kept their word.
They're 2 for 2 right now.
They're 2 for 2 right now. Shaq's the next big one. I want to see what happens with Lenny. I want to see Antonio Brown. I think at this point is gone. I think Antonio Brown is gone.
AB's gone. I think Sue's gone.
I think Sue might be gone unless Sue takes a really like we're talking vet minimum. I think that's about what I would pay him at this point.
Really, you think so?
Yeah, I think just with age and just like everything, I give him the vet minimum. And I honestly think he might come back. I mean, Gerald McCoy wants to come back to Tampa, but talk about over the hill.
Over the hill.
That's another one, Gerald McCoy. You could stay away from Tampa. I think I also want to see what happens with Brady. I mean, what do you think about this Brady stuff now? Playing past 45 now, he wants to like.
We're not talking about this.
I mean, this is a big deal because I don't know what, like, they're telling him let's restructure. He wants to play past 45 now.
That's insane.
Where does he go to? 47? I mean, this is uncharted territory.
When he actually restructures the contract, we're going to come back to this. But I think for the purposes of what we're talking about now, I just don't like think, I can't fathom it at the moment. Like, the Bucs have a lot more fucking priorities than Tom Brady at the moment.
Restructuring Tom Brady's
Like,
deal.
they have a lot more priorities. We just highlighted their biggest priority.
Shaq Barrett.
So I like what Tampa Bay's done so far. They've taken care of their own. Now they got to keep taking care of their own. They have a couple of other guys. They're going to have to let go of a couple of guys, but I'm really curious to see what they do with Shaq. And if they don't sign Shaq, how are they going to use that money to replace Shaq? Are they going to do it in two positions? Are they going to sign like a Bud Dupree and then sign a lower level defensive end?
Bud Dupree,
like
that'd be sick.
Like a Takaris McKinley or somebody like that to offset the Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things you could do when you don't sign one guy because you could replace him with two or three different guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a Tampa Bay report. Let's go to our next team. Let's go to a team that we're not really happy with. And this one should be relatively quick. The Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, okay, who we got on a little bit on our Twitter today. And I'm going to get on them again here. The Raiders don't have a lot of money. And they showed it by trading Trent Brown, releasing Gabe Jackson, releasing Richie Incognito. 3/5 of their starting offensive line is gone. Gone. Derek Carr's like, yeah, what's up, folks? I'm here.
It's so hard to replace offensive line.
He's
talent.
like, I don't want to be my brother, David Carr. I'd like to remain Derek Carr. Thank you.
I'd like to be
much.
standing on my 2 feet.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm already gun shy.
They also released Tyrell Williams. They also released LaMarcus Joyner. So
What is going on in Oakland? I'm just not understanding.
Vegas.
I keep saying Oakland. Vegas.
They don't have a lot of money. And on top of that, we said it on our Twitter.
But Joe, fucking how? Like, how did they get to this point? Where
Because
they've
they've drafted like shit.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't.
They've drafted like garbage. I mean, since Gruden has been there, they have not drafted well.
And Mayock's supposed to be this eye for talent, and he just can't get it right.
There's a reason he was working on NFL Network before he got the job. Come on. I mean, listen, their first pick, well, it wasn't even Mayock's first pick. It was Gruden's first pick with McKenzie as the GM, and it was Colton Miller. And I went back and forth, and somebody responded back on the Twitter account. I forget the name, but they said that, hey, take a look at Colton Miller. He's been a little bit better every year. And I took a look at Colton Miller's stats. He has gotten better every year, slowly better every year. He had the highest PFF grade he's had in his 3 years career. He's made about a 10 to 15% jump every year since he's been in the league. So I'm going to give Colton Miller a pass.
Colton Miller, okay.
But
Clelin Ferrell at 4.
stop. Clelin Ferrell at 4.
That was a mistake.
Jonathan Abram at 29 or some shit like that. Mistake. Josh Jacobs, fine.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
the
the one I'll
last
give
two
him.
last year, Henry Ruggs was not good this past season.
They reached so high on Henry Ruggs in that
Not
draft.
good. And then they drafted Damon Arnett. Like, Damon Arnett was fucking awful.
Yeah. And that was when they made that pick, the draft coverage was like, that makes no sense.
And here's why it's important, right? Because if they draft well, then maybe losing these guys doesn't hurt as much. But because you drafted like garbage over the past 2 years, and they overplayed this year being 8-8. They weren't even like, I didn't say they underachieved. I think they overachieved being 8-8.
their Super Bowl was beating Kansas City.
Right. They overachieved at 8-8 this year. So now losing all these guys, you know, and if you're losing Gabe Jackson, Richie Incognito, and you traded Trent Brown and you lost LaMarcus Joyner was not good this year. Let's put the cards on the table.
Yeah.
LaMarcus Joyner was not a good football player this past season. But where are they going? Who are they signing?
I'm lost.
They have nobody at wide receiver.
No, literally nobody. Brian Edwards was abysmal.
Keelan
last year.
Doss?
Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, no disrespect.
Darren Waller is there. I mean, granted, but he can't do everything.
No.
And I'm not understanding what's going on. When do you...
As it stands right now, they're the third best team in that division, in the AFC West. Yeah. It goes Kansas City, it goes the Chargers, and it goes the Raiders, and then it goes the Broncos. Right now.
When do you... If you're Mark Davis, when do you put your foot down? Are you like scared of Gruden?
Yes,
I don't
he
understand.
Is. He sold his soul to John Gruden.
Like the game passed him by. Like, and we saw it last year and we saw it the year before. The game passed him by. He's so excited when he makes these picks of these players that he's taking, and all of them have been busts.
Yeah, well,
except for Josh Jacobs. I mean, Max Crosby is probably the second best player that they've drafted on that team.
He was a third-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Like, they got to figure it out. I mean, granted, and then they just moved. You're in Vegas. You're in a new market. Like, you want people to watch you. You want new fans. Like, you want people to be energized about this team. And what is there to be energized about?
I don't know.
Derek Carr is going to be on the floor. Like, he's going to be on the floor, and he's got nobody to throw to. He has Darren Waller. That's it. They don't even use Josh Jacobs well.
No, they really don't use Jacobs well at all.
He's a pass-catching back, and they throw him 30 balls a year. Are you kidding me? It makes no sense, Joe. And then Mayock. Oh, Mayock is so good at figuring out draft talent. Mayock can't get out of his own way.
John, he's got a 10-year contract.
I know. It's mind-boggling.
He's got a 10-year contract.
And then people are like, oh, Derek Carr, I don't know if he's the guy. Listen, Derek Carr reminds me a lot of Kirk Cousins. He's very conservative. He puts up stats against really bad teams. He high completion percentage. Derek Carr does everything you want him to do to be a supreme game manager. But you can't even think, if you're Vegas, that you could turn around and put a top-tier quarterback on that team. You should be happy you have Derek Carr. You should be happy.
I think a lot for Vegas is good. It's going to go down before it goes up.
Yeah.
And I think they traded the best player they probably had in the past 20 years to the Chicago Bears when they traded Khalil Mack to Chicago. I think that was the downfall of, they had that one good year where they were like, 10-6 or something like that? And they made the playoffs, and then Carr got hurt, and Matt McGloin had to play in the playoff game.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for Carr.
But outside of that, it's been nothing good. And this offseason was not off to a good start for them. I do not know what they're going to do. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't know who's going to sign with them. I just don't see a scenario that really ends up in an avenue where it says, yes, please, for Vegas.
Yeah.
I don't see it
either. I don't think you could convince anybody to even go there. You can't even convince people or even to. I don't even know how you're going to get meetings with guys. I really just don't. So,
I mean, I think it's going to be fairly interesting to see where Vegas goes. I don't think they're in a great space right now, but what are we gonna do? We're gonna try. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about it because they're the fucking Las Vegas Raiders, and
it's just nothing new with them. There's nothing new.
They have a headline. I mean, I'm looking at their cap number right now. As it stands right now, before they made all these moves, they were $2.6 million over the cap.
How are they even? It just doesn't make any sense how they're over the cap.
So they were 2.6 over the cap before they made all these moves, and they're
going to lose Mariota too. Mariota's gone.
Yeah, probably.
What was that even about? They overpaid on Mariota last year? That didn't make any sense. They keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Nathan Peterman just re-signed. Congratulations.
I mean, I'm looking at some of their players. Marcus Mariota is making $11 million as a backup quarterback.
Absurd. Joe, it's fucking absurd. It makes no sense.
Making $11 million this year as a backup quarterback.
He saw the field on fucking 5 snaps.
He's making $11 million this year as a backup quarterback.
We really just dogged the Vegas Raiders.
He's making $11 million as a backup quarterback. I'm going to keep repeating it because it doesn't make sense. Next.
Let's get to a happy spot. Let's talk about Jacksonville.
Oh, God, let's do it. Can't wait. We start with the bad first?
All right, let's start with the bad.
Why the hell are we franchise tagging Cam Robinson? 69 or 59 out of 62 qualified tackles. That was his rating. 59 out of 62. You telling me Darrell Williams isn't a better option? Alejandro Villanueva isn't a better option at offensive tackle than Cam Robinson? $88 million and used the fucking franchise tag on Cam Robinson. Christ almighty. What do they see? Meyer kept 3 coaches retained from the old regime. And thank God the Antichrist, Todd Wash, wasn't a part of that group, because I would have hung myself by now if Todd Wash was on that fucking staff. Okay? But he kept the offensive line coach, Warhop, and Warhop probably was like, hey, Cam Robinson, we trust in this guy. Cam Robinson has not been good since his rookie season. He got hurt in year 2. He has not been good since that rookie year. I do not understand how you can justify franchise taking a guy like that. And the report was, they're not going to find a guy better on the open market than Cam Robinson for year and age. I'm sorry, what?
You know what I think it was? I'm not even going to try to justify this move because you're really upset about it. So I don't think anything I say is going to make it any better. I think it was more of a familiarity thing.
Stop.
I really do. I think it was just they know him. They know what they had. And I think it's more of like can we get him back to this?
I'm literally looking at guys who I'd rather have right now. Okay. Alejandro Villanueva. Rather have him. Who else? Who's next on this list? Russell Okung. I'd rather have him. For sure. Definitely would rather have him. Darrell Williams. Already mentioned him. Rather have him. Bobby Massey. Just got released by the Bears. Definitely rather have him. Such a joke. Such a fucking joke. I can't believe this. Mike Remmers. He was in the Super Bowl. He got manhandled by Shaq Barrett. Rather have him too.
Kyle Long is coming out of retirement.
Rather have him too. Jason Peters, the guy needs a fucking walker. I'd rather have him too.
Oh my God. Joe.
I mean, come on, man. Give me a break. It's ridiculous. Sorry. I love you, Jaguars. Don't ever leave. Please.
The Jaguar aggregators are going to get us.
Now, to the good.
Oh.
There is good in this.
There is good, okay.
There is good in this. Urban Meyer had a press conference today.
Okay.
And he outlined, and I think it's really important that he said this. He said the next 3 weeks are some of the most important weeks he'll ever have as a coach of the Jaguars, which coincidentally he said the first time when he was hiring his coaching staff. These are the most important days as my head coach. See a theme.
It's like little pockets of important days.
But I will say he is much more forthcoming than a lot of other coaches I've seen before, which is very nice. It's a nice refresh. He also hasn't won or lost any games yet, so he's not on the hook for anything.
He doesn't know if he has any chest.
But he did mention that they need serious help along the defensive line, which we all knew, but it's nice that he acknowledges that.
Yeah.
He said that they need help in the tight end position. So Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, guys who I could see them going after, for sure. He said they need help in the secondary, which I think now with Marcus Williams getting tagged and Justin Simmons getting tagged, I think your boy Anthony Harris becomes one of the most sought-out free agents for them in the free agent market. Okay. I think Anthony Harris might be signed by them. I think they're going to make a big deal for Anthony Harris. I mean, big play for Anthony Harris. And then last but not least, he said they need a big hit receiver. He did not say they need an over-the-top receiver. He said essentially they need a home run receiver. It has been noted that Urban Meyer has said that he wants his team to be built around speed. There is a guy on the open market in the wide receiver position that I know a lot of Jaguar fans want, including myself, and I think they would like to use him as a Tyreek Hill type. He goes by the name of Curtis Samuel.
Ooh.
And Curtis Samuel was underutilized in Carolina. A lot of people like him. He has very good hands, and he's very quick. And I believe Chenault is a little bit too big to be used in that space. That Samuel's a little smaller, but he's definitely got that Tyreek Hill physique. Mm-hmm. So if you're asking me where I think Jacksonville is going to go in the offseason, I think they're going to go after Anthony Harris. I think they're going to go after Curtis Samuel. I think they're going to go after guys like Jonnu Smith or Hunter Henry. Probably Smith because he may cost a little less than Henry. I think they're going to go for Henry first. I also wouldn't count them out of being in the Zach Ertz trade talks, personally. Mm-hmm. I really wouldn't. I would be surprised if they were not out on that. They might sign even 2 tight ends. I could see them going for a guy like a Jonnu Smith and then signing a guy like a Kyle Rudolph as like a security blanket.
Like a veteran, like a good guy in the locker room.
And then I think the defensive line, I think they're going to go after a guy like Matt Judon. I think they're going to go after a guy like Dalvin Tomlinson from the New York Giants. I think they're going to go after Shelby Harris, although I don't know if they're going to resign. The Broncos are going to resign Shelby Harris. But I think the Jaguars are going to be major players in the first year. I think this is where Urban Meyer needs to shine. When he was at Ohio State and Florida, he was there, and they were so successful because he was a recruiter first.
Yeah.
This is the only opportunity during the NFL year where you get to recruit.
Yep. And which is the biggest draw for him, right?
Right.
The NFL recruiting is not 365, 7 days a week.
No.
It's free agency period. This is your time to shine, Urban. Like, this is one of the main reasons they brought you in the building.
Right. This is where he is supposed to be, his like A self. So now he's got an opportunity. Apparently, they've done extensive work on the free agents, and I think I'm very intrigued to see where they go. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think they're going to go after all the top tier free agents. I think they're going to go and by the way, franchise tagging Cam Robinson tells me they're not going to go after Trent Williams.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. But, we are where we are. And that's what it is. I think I'm not going to get my heart on yet because they haven't done anything yet. But the last time they had this much money, they signed Calais Campbell. And that might very well be the best free agent signing in franchise history. Yep. So I'm intrigued to see where they go from here. Before we move on to our next segment, we have one more team to go through.
Oh, boy.
And, John, I'm letting you take the lead on this because you've been ready.
So the team I want to discuss is the Seattle Seahawks. I have absolutely no idea what is going on in Seattle. I know I said that about the Raiders as well, but really I have no idea what's going on in Seattle. First of all, the Russell Wilson thing is just like, it's going to come to a head at some point because clearly they're not happy with how he handled it. He's not happy there. Now all this stuff is happening with Chicago. He's their number one priority, which, I mean, for Chicago to put all your eggs into a basket of a quarterback that nobody even knows is actually available is a little weird to me. And then what they did with Carlos Dunlap yesterday.
Yeah, what the hell happened?
So they trade for Carlos Dunlap. So when they traded for Carlos Dunlap, that defense was terrible. That defense was like absolutely awful at that point. It
didn't really get much better, though.
No, it didn't really get much better, but he created a lot of pressure for them. Like, he was definitely a revelation for them after the trade. They release him to get $14 million in cap back, and then say, "Oh, but we're going to try to go re-sign him again."
Yeah, I think you're going to
get that.
I think you're going to see this a lot this year. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is I think what you're going to see is
it because of how unsure they are about the cap? Is that?
I think it's a cap saving move. They're betting on Carlos Dunlap is not going to get $14 million a year in the open market.
I don't think he is.
That's what they're betting.
Yeah,
and they're betting that if he doesn't, that he's going to choose going back to them over somebody else. Yeah. That's exactly what.
But it's still just I don't.
It doesn't sit well.
It doesn't sit well with me, and it does. I don't think it sits well with Dunlap.
Well, this is where you get reminded that football is a business.
Yeah, of course,
it's a business,
and they have some other issues they need to address. And then Chris Carson is gone. They didn't tag Chris Carson.
They did not tag Chris Carson,
which I mean, that's a travesty.
He's going to be so. Well, the problem with Chris Carson is he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, but when he's healthy, man, he's one of the best.
When he's healthy, he's very good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
But he can't stay healthy. You can't count on him for 16 games a year.
No, and I don't think he's going to get a lot of money on the open market. I think teams are going to go after him, but I don't think he's going to get a ton of money on the open market. I mean, and they could honestly, if they would have tagged him, I mean, what's the running back tag? It's got to be something around $14 million.
I don't think it's that high.
No, it's not that high. I think it's kind of up there.
Is it really?
It has to be.
Come on.
I mean, there's got to be a reason none of these running backs are getting tagged.
Well, it's running back. That's why they're not getting tagged. Come on, you're smarter than that.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Chris Carson is. I know that he can't stay healthy, but even so, he's one of the main parts
running
of that
back
offense.
tag is $11.1 million.
Okay, so $11.1 million is still pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Chris Carson's get $11 million a year? No,
honestly, I don't think so. But
I don't even know if Aaron Jones gets $11 million a year.
No, I don't think Aaron. Well,
and he's the best running back on the market, Aaron Jones.
I could see Aaron Jones getting a little bit of an overpay.
You think so?
Yeah, a little bit. I could see again another team I could see jumping in on Aaron Jones, the Jets, because it's like, all right, we're gonna pay Aaron Jones unless they really think they're gonna address running back in the draft. But that we're getting away from Seattle. Seattle needs to address quite a few things on that team, and there just seems like there's nothing but turmoil there right now. Nothing but turmoil.
Well, they have a lot of things to fix. I mean, Russell and the offensive line issue that they have. The surest thing they have, it looks like right now, is the wide receiver position with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That's it.
That's literally it.
That's it.
I mean,
KJ Wright's also a free agent.
Yeah.
You know, so and Bobby Wagner. I apologize. Bobby Wagner is somebody who is like a
staple. Yeah, he's
a mainstay.
He's never losing Sal.
But I will say this: all good things must come to an end. And
I think the Russell Wilson thing does come to an end.
A lot of Bears fans are banking on the fact that they're going to get Russell Wilson after they recently franchise tagged Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I think with him, I think it's what's weird is that it just came out of nowhere.
That's how some of these things happen.
I know, and it's just like all right, you're clearly unhappy. I mean, we spoke about it in the first pod. The most sacks created by a quarterback on his own. Like, I mean, he runs into the offensive line. I mean, let's be honest. If I'm Russell Wilson,
let's be honest.
I don't like what they're doing there.
The Russell Wilson smack talk from John McCarthy.
I don't like what's going on there. I don't like how both sides are going about it. And I don't like what happened with Carlos Dunlap. I just don't.
Well, the Cardinals are clapping, the 49ers are clapping, and the Rams are clapping because they're like, yay, finally. The Seahawks, after like what seems like forever, but it's only been like 10 years, are finally going to topple over and fall. Because they've been the kings of that division for a while.
Yeah, and how sad is that? I mean...
It was a nice story at the beginning.
Yeah, it was, of course.
It was a nice story at the beginning, and then they became like bullies because they had the Legion of Boom.
Mm-hmm.
They won one Super Bowl. They probably should have won two.
Well, yeah, you don't throw at the one.
Right. They probably should have won two Super Bowls, and they only won one. And they've been consistent. I don't know. I know they've won double-digit games a lot of the years that Russell's been the quarterback. I think it's been only a couple of years.
I think it's most of the years.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still think right now Russell's going to be there. It's going to be really telling what they do in free agency. There's a team that I could see going after Trent Williams to prove, say, hey Russell, here's your bodyguard.
Tackle.
Here's your bodyguard. You know, what else do we have to prove to you to stay? And I said before, I think there's a team that I think it's to be signing Leonard Fournette to a short-term deal. Seattle.
Honestly, that's actually a pretty good signing.
Yeah, I think
you lose Carson, you get Lenny. I mean, Lenny could do wonders on that team.
I think that's a spot you could see Lenny go to.
Lenny loves to run right up the middle, not look at what's going on. Doesn't bounce it outside.
Don't talk bad about Super Bowl Lenny.
He loves to be Marshawn Lynch.
Okay, don't talk bad. The man is probably enjoying his offseason. He loves playing Call of Duty. He loves playing Warzone.
I love how he still wears his LSU pads. Can we talk about that for a second? Do you notice that?
I knew it when he played with the Jaguars.
He still wears them. What? That's so weird. How are they not just like dead by now?
Hey, listen, it got him to the NFL. Listen, there's three things that we don't hate talk on this podcast. Okay, one of them is Lenny. Okay, the second one is Doug Marrone. Okay, because Doug Marrone was
sweet man,
sweet Doug. He's gonna do wonders as the offensive line coach in Alabama with Nick Saban. And three, we never, ever, ever talk bad about Blake Bortles. That will never happen. I will quit this podcast if we have one bad word to say about Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles doesn't even know how to spell Bortles.
Well, it doesn't matter. He is the boat. Okay,
he really is.
That's all you need to know.
He should be working construction, ripping cigs.
He should be working construction and ripping cigs.
That's what he said.
All right. Back after this, we will have our third and final segment, NFL Free Agency Part 2. I'm going to give you our new updated free agency list and give you some predictions on where those guys are going to end up. We'll be right back, folks. All right, guys, and we're back for segment number 3 here at Perfect Spiral. Hope you're having some fun with us here on our second episode ever. Again, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe and follow and rate us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Follow us and subscribe on Spotify. We're now also on Google Podcasts or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Our TikTok is very fun, too.
Our TikTok
at Perfect Spiral Pod. We do a lot of instant reaction stuff there. So if you want to see Joe get like really mad in his Jaguars hat real quick, just check it out. It's really fun.
Hey, I'm wearing my Jaguar hat right now. I'm hyped.
He comes here in full Jaguars gear.
Absolutely. I got my Bold City Brigade shirt on, which is a Jaguars fan club.
Very professional.
Hey, listen, I don't fuck around. Okay.
You're very professional, sir.
I think I look good.
You do. You look great.
All right. So, free agency part 2. Last week, we did our part 1, and we spoke about some of the guys and some of the teams and who was going to hurt, who was not going to hurt. Today, we're going to give you our updated top 150 after basically having half of the top 10, top 25 have already signed.
Just Thanos snap disappeared.
Yeah, literally, like a fucking, like, what is it called? The blip?
Yeah, it was definitely the blip yesterday.
The blip. So, John, here's what I'm going to do.
Hit me.
I'm going to give you some names. Well, first of all, we're going to give you our new and updated, our new and improved top 15. Okay? Number 1, Shaq Barrett. Number 2, Trent Williams. Number 3, Kenny Golladay. Number 4, Shelby Harris. Number 5, Corey Linsley. Number 6, Anthony Harris. Number 7, Trey Hendrickson. Number 8, Leonard Fournette. Number 9, Aaron Jones. Number 10, Will Fuller. Number 11, Carlos Dunlap. Number 12, Alejandro Villanueva. Number 13, Melvin Ingram. Number 14, Hunter Henry. Number 15, T.Y. Hilton. And then I will also throw in there number 16, Joe Tooney, because I'm interested to see where he's going to go. So, initial reaction about our top 15 left over?
Obviously, a lot of the top studs that we had at each position are gone.
Right.
But there's still a lot of good players there. I see a lot of, again, like we said, I see a lot of overpays there.
So
I see a lot of guys where it's like teams that were really banking on like getting a Brandon Scherf.
Right.
Now we're going to turn their attention to Joe Tooney.
Which is not a bad thing.
Which is not a bad thing, but you're going to see him get a little more than he probably would have gone before.
One thing I just want to say about this free agent class is I think that there's not a lot of superstar players in this draft class, in this free agent class, but I do think there is a lot of good talent.
A lot of good veteran players
In this free agent class. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to help a lot of teams on this list. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to give you a couple of names because you're so good with thinking on the spot. Oof. I'm going to give you a couple of names, and you're going to tell me where you think they're going to end up.
Okay.
All right?
Hit me.
All right. Let's go. We already discussed Shaq Barrett, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, we don't need.
Let's go next. Let's go Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, Indianapolis.
Ooh. You have a number for me?
I think it's a big payday.
Big payday for the 32-year-old.
I think it's a shorter deal. I think it's a 3 with an option.
Okay.
I would go, if Scherf's getting 18.5 on the second year tag, I'm going to go something like 19 million per.
Wow. That's heavy for Trent.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a big payday.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So we got prediction time, Trent Williams to the Colts. Filling in for Anthony Costanzo.
Yeah, come on, you just pick up where you left off at that point.
Right. Anthony Harris, former Viking.
I think he goes to Jacksonville.
Hey!
I think he definitely goes to Jacksonville. I think number-wise, if I had to give a quick number.
He's going to get a 5-year deal.
I think he's going to get a 5-year deal. You think forward an option on 5?
I think he's going to get a 5-year deal.
Straight up 5-year deal.
I do.
15 million per.
Okay. Like that. Let's go down the list a little bit. Oh, okay. Let's do it. Will Fuller.
Will Fuller. I wouldn't pay Will Fuller if my life depended on it.
Wow.
But Will Fuller is going to get a lot of money on the open market again because
when he's healthy, he's very good.
When he's healthy, he's very good. But again, like we said about Chris Carson in the last segment, when he's healthy.
Right.
And then you had the PED suspension last year when he was finally healthy.
Probably because he was getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Go figure. Again, I think when it comes to Will Fuller, it's going to be a lot of teams that had their hands thinking that they were going to get Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay. I feel like he's going to go real fast. I think Kenny Golladay is going to be off the board quick. So you're going to go to those second-tier guys. I think Will Fuller is a second-tier guy for us.
Right.
Will Fuller, I think, is going to end up in Green Bay.
Hey, okay.
They tried to get him at the trade deadline. They were really close on a deal for him. I could see them really going back to the well on that. I could see them giving him, I want to say 3-year deal, 13 million per.
Okay, interesting. All right, let's go to the trenches first. Joe Tooney.
Joe Tooney. This is an interesting one.
Left guard.
I'm gonna say my Minnesota Vikings.
Hey, okay.
I think we know what we need to address, and one of the biggest concerns is the offensive line.
Okay.
As it's been for the past couple of years. We're losing Riley Reif. I think we go for Joe Tooney. I think we have a lot of we need to try to figure out how we're going to get him. There's a lot of moving around we need to do on the cap. I could see Joe Tooney getting a 4-year deal somewhere in the ballpark of 15, 16 million.
I think your biggest competitor for Joe Tooney is going to be the New York Jets.
Yes.
I think the Jets have a very They know they've seen him. They see him twice a year. If he wants to stay in the Northeast, he doesn't got to drive far from where his family might be. Might not even have to move them.
Yeah.
I think the Jets are a major player for Joe Tooney.
Give me a couple more names. I like this.
This is fun, right? All right. So let me go to former Jaguar.
Oh, boy.
Yannick Ngakoue.
Yannick Ngakoue. Jesus. You think a lot of teams are scared about him with what happened last year?
No, because once he got to Baltimore, he played.
Yeah, and he was pretty damn good.
Without a
he was
hitch.
good. He was good for us too. I mean, he really turned it on after that first game. Yannick Ngakoue. I could see Yannick Ngakoue going to the Jets.
I say the Bills.
Interesting. Because they missed out on JJ, you think?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I can see, by the way, quick prediction on Yannick. I think that he gets about 16, 17 million
Okay.
on a 4 or 5 year deal.
Let's go to Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree was a big one today.
You're really heavy about Bud Dupree.
I was. I thought that, I mean, Pittsburgh's another team we could have gotten into where it's a little confusing what's going on.
we
there.
have plenty of time.
I want to see what they do with Juju first. Bud Dupree. I could see Bud Dupree going to... This is an interesting one because his services could be used a lot of places. That's another guy I'm going to say the Jets.
Really? You think so?
I think the Jets are going to be, honestly, like, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think the Jets are players in all of these guys. Whether they get a meeting or whether they could even get these guys in the, like, just to get them in the door, I don't know. I think they're going to kick the tires on a lot of these guys. I can see Bud Dupree with the Jets as well.
Okay. I'm going to give you two more.
Okay.
Let's do one that I think is going to be interesting.
Oh, boy. Joe's laughing. I don't like this one.
Marlon Mack.
Oh, my gosh. Marlon Mack. Wow.
I have a team for Marlon Mack.
Okay. You want to say it first? Because
I'm curious to see where you go.
I think Marlon Mack is going to have a little bit of difficulty signing with the team.
I agree.
I think it's going to be one of those, you missed out on tier 1 running backs. You missed out on, I mean, tier 1 is a formality at this point. Tier 2 running backs, and now you're going to the well for tier 3. I don't think Marlon Mack's a starter in the league right now, especially after the injury. I
disagree with you on that.
Really?
I do.
Okay, we could get into that. Marlon Mack's a weird one. I can see Marlon Mack ending up in Miami.
Okay.
Hit me. What do you think about Marlon Mack?
I think Marlon Mack was very good before he got hurt.
Yes.
And I think he deserves a chance to start for a team because he was so good. He was nothing but productive for the Colts when he played.
Yeah, he had a pretty high
wasn't really much of
average.
a pass catching back, but he was productive. There's one team that sticks out to me that needs a running back and is not really a team that is really in contention mode right now, but a place where he might be able to sign a 1-year deal, get his stock back up before he signs a big-term deal, and that's the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow. Okay. Marlon Mack also, by the way, averaged almost 4.5 yards per carry.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Productive.
I think Marlon Mack could definitely end up in Atlanta on a 1-year deal, much like Todd Gurley did last year with the Falcons. I think it might be a really good opportunity for Marlon to rise his value again, especially playing with a couple of really good wide receivers in Julio and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
So that's what I think about Marlon Mack. And then last but not least, I'm going to give you a really random one.
Oh, I like this.
Really random one. I feel like you're going to enjoy this one, so I'm going to give it to you. Alden Smith.
Ooh, Alden Smith. First of all, can we give Alden Smith just like a quick silent clap?
Sure.
He came back from
A lot of shit.
Like dealing with his demons and coming back.
He was pretty good for the Cowboys.
He was fantastic. I honestly, being out of league 4 years, getting yourself back in shape, when you were on the top of your game, I mean, when he left because of the substance abuse stuff, he was unreal, man. He was an absolute stud. I mean, what did he have? Almost 30 sacks the first 2 years, rookie year and his second year.
He was a beast.
He was a beast. He was an all-pro.
Yeah.
So credit to him for coming back from what he was dealing with. It's very hard. Where does Alden Smith go? Alden Smith. You know what? I think he goes back to Dallas. I think he goes back to Dallas on a small deal. I think there's got to be some sort of connection there. They gave him the chance. Goes back to Dallas. Another small deal. Showcase what you had. He had 5 sacks last year. Listen, 5 sacks is 5 sacks for a guy being out of the league 4 years. I don't think I could get up and go into the NFL and have 5 sacks.
More than 4.
Yeah, it's not. I think he goes back, or I could see Seattle going after Alden Smith as a Dunlap replacement.
Okay,
cheaper, still productive.
Right.
See what he has. I mean, Seattle has a good environment. I mean, they seem to love guys who've had problems, a la Josh Gordon.
Fan controlled football league, Josh Gordon.
Yo, he had 2 touchdowns.
It's a fan-controlled football league.
What does that even mean?
I think
it's on Twitch. I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know. It's dumb.
Johnny Manziel's there, too.
Stop it.
Didn't he, stop caring about football, 3 years ago?
Yeah, he missed a game because he had, a dental surgery or something like that.
Johnny Manziel's a mess.
So, I mean, come on.
Johnny Manziel might come up in our draft, just a little teaser, our little draft coverage.
He will?
He might.
Why?
Yeah, as a comparison.
Oh, God.
There's a quarterback that's very much Johnny Manziel, but we'll get into that a little bit.
Okay. For a second, I thought you meant fantasy football, and I was like, why would he come up in fantasy football?
Yeah, I'm drafting Johnny Manziel as my quarterback next year.
Very good. Speaking of draft, wanted to let everybody know here that we will be starting our perfect. I totally fucked up that word.
Perfect?
Our perfect spiral podcast draft coverage will start April 1st. And we will then give you, and I'm looking at my calendar here to give you, we will have our first mock draft for Perfect Spiral on April 8th. And every Thursday, leading up until the draft, we will do 3 mock drafts. We'll do one on April 8th, we'll do one on April 15th, and we're going to do one on April 22nd. So we're going to do 3 mock drafts. And then the hope is that John and myself will be able to live stream the first round of the draft on April 29th with you guys on Twitter. So we're hoping we're going to try to figure out a way to do that. We might be able to do that and bring it to you. If not, then we will definitely be recapping and giving draft grades for every single first round pick made on day 1.
That'd be fun to do a little, pod group watch.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
I think we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, we're gonna try to figure that out for sure. All right, folks, that's all we got today. It was really fun to do this again.
Got a little hot today.
Did get a little hot today, but that's what we're all about. Went a little bit longer, but there was a lot to cover.
There was a lot. We had to go over it. And don't forget, I just want to remind everybody, Twitter at PSP Pod and our TikTok at Perfect Spiral Pod. We try to be, we're giving instant reactions on basically everything that's happening. You'll see my lovely face or Joe's lovely face. People seem to like Joe more than me. I'm
a hot piece of ass.
You are cute. It's okay.
I am so hot.
We go over instant reaction stuff. We put out just recaps. So you could catch us there, and then it's just a little teaser on what we're going to discuss on the pod usually. So.
There you go. All right, folks. Well, that's that. Hopefully, you guys listen to us and give us some feedback. If you want to hit us up at our email or Gmail, it's at perfectspiralpod@gmail.com. Ask us any questions. If there's things that you want us to talk about, please let us know. We will definitely discuss it. But that's really it. Another week in the books. Episode number 2 down. Ready for episode number 3 in about a week. Who the hell knows what's going to happen from the course of now until next Wednesday. Only time will tell. Next Wednesday, I believe, is when free agency will be starting. Yes, it is. So a week from tomorrow,
I have some real instant reactions.
4 p.m. is when free agency starts. So we will definitely have some storylines for you. From my buddy John McCarthy, this is Joe Miglio. Perfect Spiral out.
Take care, everybody.